The distress signal. A call in the darkness. Commander Sarah Chen had been monitoring deep space transmissions for 12 years, and she had never heard anything quite like this. The signal was weak, fractured, breaking apart like glass in her headset. But beneath the static, there was something else. Fear. Raw, genuine terror that transcended species and language. She sat forward in her chair at the frontier listening post, her fingers dancing across the console to clean up the audio. The post was a small facility, just 8 crew members rotating shifts in the outer reaches of human-controlled space. Most days were monotonous, filled with routine checks and the occasional merchant vessel checking in. But not today. The signal sharpened. It was not human. The voice was higher-pitched, almost musical, but the distress was universal. Sarah's translation software kicked in, struggling with the unfamiliar language patterns. Words began to form on her screen, fragmented and incomplete. Help, ship failing, children, please, anyone. Sarah's heart hammered against her ribs. She keyed the priority channel. Commander Chen to Captain Williams. We have an emergency distress call. Non-human origin. Requesting immediate response authorization. Captain Williams appeared on her screen within seconds, his gray beard and tired eyes showing the weight of years spent in space. What have you got, Chen? Unknown species, sir. Their ship is dying. And they mention children. She played the cleaned-up audio for him. Williams listened, his expression hardening. Lock onto that signal. I'm authorizing a rescue mission. Get Lieutenant Reeves and his team prepped. We launch in 20 minutes. The rescue. Lieutenant Marcus Reeves was not a man who scared easily. He had flown through asteroid fields, navigated gravitational anomalies, and once crash-landed on a hostile moon and walked away. But as his rescue shuttle approached the dying alien vessel, he felt something close to dread. The ship was unlike anything in human databases. It was organic-looking, smooth curves and bioluminescent panels that were now flickering and dying like fireflies at dawn. Massive tears in the hull exposed inner compartments to the void. Debris floated in a sad orbit around the crippled craft. Reading 17 life signs, his co-pilot, Elena Vasquez, reported. Concentrated in what looks like a central chamber. Atmosphere is almost gone. They have maybe 30 minutes. Then we have 20, Reeves replied, guiding their shuttle toward the largest breach. Prep the emergency pressure suits. If their biology is anywhere close to baseline, we can keep them alive until we get back to the post. They docked with practiced efficiency. The rescue team moved through the alien ship in their hard suits, helmet lights cutting through the darkness. The interior was beautiful despite the destruction. Walls seemed to pulse with faint light and strange symbols covered every surface. But there was no time to admire alien craftsmanship. They found them in a chamber that might have been a cargo hold or communal space. 17 beings, huddled together around what appeared to be a failing life support generator. They were tall and slender, with 4 arms and skin that shimmered between silver and pale blue. But what caught Reeves by surprise were the young ones. 6 small beings, barely waist-high, pressed against the adults. The aliens recoiled at first, and Reeves could not blame them. Humans in hard suits probably looked like mechanical monsters. He raised his hands slowly, palms out, a gesture he hoped translated across species. We're here to help, he said, knowing his suit's external speakers would at least convey tone if not meaning. We're going to get you out of here. One of the aliens stepped forward. She was taller than the others, with deeper blue markings along her arms. She made a series of gestures, then pointed to the children and to Reeves's shuttle beyond the breach. Reeves nodded. Vasquez, start getting the children into the pressure suits. They're our priority. What followed was a frantic but controlled evacuation. The alien children were terrified, crying in those same musical tones Sarah had heard in the distress call. But their elders calmed them, and slowly, with gentle handling from the rescue team, they were secured in modified emergency suits and guided to the shuttle. The adult aliens followed, each one stopping to touch their hand to their chest and then extend it to the humans. A gesture of gratitude that needed no translation. They had just sealed the last alien into the shuttle when a shudder ran through the dying ship. Warning lights flared across Reeves's helmet display. "The reactor core is collapsing," Vasquez shouted. "We need to go now. Everyone strapped in." Reeves called out, already firing the shuttle's engines. "Secure, sir." They pulled away from the alien vessel just as its core imploded. The ship folded in on itself, a brief flash of light marking the end of what had clearly been someone's home. Reeves watched it in his rear view, then turned his attention to the 17 lives now under his care. First contact. Back at the Frontier listening post, the medical bay had never been so crowded. Dr. Patricia Hayes worked alongside her staff to assess their unexpected guests. The aliens were surprisingly compatible with human medical equipment once the team figured out the right settings. "Their biology is oxygen-based, carbon-structured," Hayes reported to Captain Williams. "Heart rate is elevated, but that is probably stress. No signs of disease or contamination. They are dehydrated and exhausted, but they will survive." Williams nodded, standing in the observation room and watching through the glass. The alien children were being examined now, and despite their ordeal, they showed curiosity about their surroundings. One reached out to touch a medical scanner, and when it beeped, the child made a sound that was unmistakably a laugh. The tall female alien approached the glass. Up close, Williams could see the intelligence in her large, dark eyes. She placed her hand against the transparent barrier. Williams mirrored the gesture from his side. Sarah Chen entered with a tablet. "Sir, we have made progress on the translation. Their language uses harmonic patterns, but the AI is adapting. We should have basic communication within a few hours." "Good. I want to know what happened to them. And I want to know if anyone else is coming for them." "There's something else, sir." Sarah hesitated. "While scanning their ship debris, we picked up trace signatures. Weapon fire. This was not an accident." Williams's jaw tightened. "Someone attacked them." "Yes, sir. And based on the energy signatures, it was recent. Within the last 6 hours. Understanding." 3 hours later, Captain Williams sat across from the alien leader in a hastily arranged meeting room. The translation software had improved dramatically, though it still struggled with nuance. The alien had introduced herself with a name that translated roughly as, "singing wine through crystals," but she indicated humans could call her Crystal. "Thank you," Crystal said through the translator, her voice carrying that distinctive musical quality even in English. "You saved our lives. Our children's lives. We are in your debt." Williams shook his head. "No debt. We help those in need. It is what decent people do. But I need to understand what happened. Who attacked you?" Crystal's skin shifted to a darker blue, which the computer flagged as sadness or grief. "The Vrakath. They are raiders, conquerors. My people, the Cellin, we are explorers and artists. We have no weapons, no warriors. We believed that showing peace would invite peace." She looked down at her 4 hands, clasped together. "We were wrong. The Vrakath attacked your ship. They attacked our colony world. 3 days ago. We were on an evacuation vessel, trying to reach the nearest Allied system. But they found us. They damaged our engines and left us to die in space. They said it was more efficient than wasting ammunition." The casual cruelty of it made Williams's blood run cold. "Where is this colony? How many of your people are still there?" "The colony of Laris 3. When we left, there were still 800 Cellin on the surface. The Vrakath were rounding them up for forced labor in their mining operations." Crystal looked up, and there were tears in her eyes. "Your translation device, does it convey begging?" Because I am begging you. Please help them. My mate is still there. My family. Williams stood. Wait here. He found his senior staff in the command center within minutes. Lieutenant Reeves, Dr. Hayes, Sarah Chen, and his first officer, Commander James Torres. We have a situation, Williams began, and laid out everything Crystal had told him. Torres frowned. Sir, we are a listening post. We have one armed shuttle and a crew of 8. We cannot take on raiders. No, Williams agreed. We cannot. But I know someone who can. He opened a secure channel. Get me Admiral Catherine Rodriguez at Fleet Command. Priority 1. The message. A fleet mobilizes. Admiral Catherine Rodriguez had commanded the Terran Defense Fleet for 7 years, and in that time, she had faced down pirates, defused border conflicts, and once stared down an entire battle group of hostile aliens until they backed down. But Captain Williams's call gave her pause. She listened to the recording Crystal had made, her voice breaking as she described watching the Vracath soldiers drag Cylon families from their homes. She watched the scans of their destroyed ship. And she looked at the medical reports showing 6 alien children who had nearly died in the cold of space. How long do the Cylon on Laris 3 have? Rodriguez asked. Williams appeared on her screen, his expression grim. Based on Crystal's timeline, maybe a week before the Vracath finish their operations and move on. They will take the strong for labor and leave the rest behind. In mining tunnels. Sealed. Rodriguez closed her eyes. She had seen Vracath handiwork before. They were efficient monsters. Captain Williams, keep your guests safe and comfortable. I am going to make some calls. What followed was the most intense 6 hours of political maneuvering Rodriguez had ever engaged in. She called in favors, made promises, and when necessary, simply pulled rank. The Terran Federation Council debated for 3 hours before finally voting. The resolution passed with only 2 dissenting votes. The Terran Defense Fleet was authorized to conduct a humanitarian rescue operation at Laris 3. Rodriguez stood on the bridge of her flagship, the TFS Valiant, and watched the fleet assemble. 40 warships, the largest battle group Terra had deployed in a decade. Cruisers, destroyers, carrier vessels with their fighter complements. The void filled with human engineering and determination. All ships report ready, her tactical officer announced. Rodriguez opened the fleet-wide channel. This is Admiral Rodriguez to all vessels. Today we are not going to war. We are going to save lives. The Cylon are a peaceful people who have done no harm to anyone. They have been attacked by raiders and slavers. We are going to remind the galaxy that humanity does not tolerate such things. Set course for Laris 3. Maximum speed. 40 ships turned as one and jumped to faster than light travel. The siege. The Vracath were not expecting company. Their 3 cruisers orbited Laris 3 lazily, confident in their dominance. The Cylon colony below showed no resistance. Why would it? The Cylon did not even have firearms. That changed when 40 human warships dropped out of FTL at the system's edge. Commander Croth, leader of the Vracath operation, stared at his sensors in disbelief. What are those? Who called for reinforcements? His tactical officer's skin paled to a sickly gray. Sir, those are not reinforcements. Those signatures match Terran vessels. Humans. Humans. Why would humans care about this backwater colony? He got his answer seconds later when Admiral Rodriguez's face appeared on every screen in his ship. Attention Vracath vessels. This is Admiral Catherine Rodriguez of the Terran Defense Fleet. You are hereby ordered to withdraw from Laris 3 immediately. Release any Cylon you have detained and vacate this system. You have 10 minutes to comply. Croth barked a laugh. Humans. Always playing hero. Tactical, charge weapons. Let us show them what happens when they interfere. His tactical officer looked uncertain. Sir, they outnumber us 13-1. And those are capital ships. Military grade. I said charge weapons. On the Valiant, Rodriguez watched the Vracath cruisers power up their weapon systems. She sighed. They chose the hard way. All vessels, battle formation Delta 7. Disable those ships. Non-lethal force where possible, but protect yourselves. What followed was not a battle. It was a demonstration. The human fleet moved with practiced precision. Fighter craft swarmed the Vracath cruisers, targeting weapon systems and engines. The cruisers fired back, their plasma cannons scoring hits on human shields, but the shields held. Human rail guns responded with surgical precision, tearing through Vracath armor and destroying their ability to fight without destroying the ships themselves. Within 8 minutes, all 3 Vracath cruisers were dead in space, their crews alive but helpless. Send boarding parties, Rodriguez ordered. Secure those ships and find out how many Cellin they have captive. Liberation. On the surface of Laris 3, the Cellin had gathered in their largest settlement, huddled together in fear as Vracath soldiers kept guard. They had watched the battle in the sky, not understanding what it meant. Then human drop ships began landing. Marines poured out in full combat gear, weapons raised. The Vracath guards tried to resist, but they were outnumbered and outmatched. Within minutes, the settlement was secure. Captain James Morrison led the ground team. He was young for a captain, barely 30, but he had earned his rank through action, not politics. He approached the largest group of Cellin, seeing their fear and confusion. He removed his helmet, showing his human face. My name is Captain Morrison. We are from Terra. Earth. We are here to help you. You are safe now. An elderly Cellin stepped forward, their skin marked with age patterns that seemed to glow faintly. Why? We are nothing to you. We have nothing to offer. Morrison smiled. You do not need to offer us anything. Helping people is reason enough. The elderly Cellin stared at him for a long moment, then their skin shifted to a warm golden color. They began to weep, and soon others joined them. Not tears of sadness, but of relief. Of hope restored. There are more, the elder said. In the mining tunnels. The Vracath took the strongest to work. Maybe 300 of our people. Show us, Morrison said. The rescue operation took hours. The Cellin in the tunnels had been worked nearly to death, deprived of food and water. Human medics worked alongside the freed Cellin, providing treatment and comfort. Morrison walked through the tunnels, his anger building with each prisoner they found. This was what the Vracath called efficiency. This was what they had planned to leave behind, sealed in the dark. Get everyone to the surface, he ordered. Medical ships are standing by. No one gets left behind. Reunion. Back in orbit, Admiral Rodriguez supervised the transfer of rescued Cellin from the Vracath ships. They had found another 200 captives in the cruiser holds, kept in conditions that made her sick. Admiral, her communications officer called out. We have incoming from the frontier listening post. Captain Williams says Crystal is requesting to speak with you. Rodriguez nodded. Put her through. Crystal appeared on screen, and even through the translator, Rodriguez could hear the desperate hope in her voice. Admiral, please, my mate, my family, have you found them? Rodriguez smiled. We are sending you the manifest now. But yes, Crystal. We found them. All of them. They are safe. Crystal made a sound that needed no translation. Pure joy, pure relief. Thank you. Thank you. How can we ever repay this? The same way we repaid you, Rodriguez said. By helping the next person who needs it. The galaxy works better when people look out for each other. In the settlement on Laris 3, Captain Morrison watched as families reunited. Selen embraced their lost loved ones, their skin flashing through every color in rapid succession. Children laughed and cried simultaneously. And through it all, human soldiers stood guard, ensuring no more harm would come to these people. An elderly Selen approached Morrison. It was the same elder who had questioned him earlier. "Captain, I must ask again. Why did you do this? Your admiral says to help the next person. But we have not helped you. We did not save any humans." Morrison thought about his answer carefully. "Maybe not yet. But kindness has to start somewhere. My grandmother used to say that the measure of a civilization is not how it treats its powerful, but how it treats those who cannot defend themselves. Terra wants to be a civilization worth being proud of." The elder's skin shifted to deep purple, which the translator marked as profound respect. "Then Terra already is. And the Selen will remember this. Always." Above them, the Terran Fleet maintained orbit, a wall of steel and determination between the Selen and anyone who might threaten them again. And in ships across the fleet, crews watched the reunions on their screens and felt something rare in the cold of space. They felt like they had done something that mattered. A new alliance. 1 week later, the Selen colony was secure. Temporary defenses had been erected, and a rotating human patrol now kept watch over the system. The Vracath had been handed over to galactic authorities, their ships confiscated. Crystal and her group had been reunited with their families, and the Selen government, such as it was, had sent representatives to meet with Admiral Rodriguez. The meeting took place aboard the Valiant, in a conference room hastily modified to accommodate Selen physiology. Crystal was there, along with what Rodriguez understood was the Selen Council of Voices, their governing body. "Admiral Rodriguez," the eldest council member began, "the Selen people are in your debt. We have never known such protection, such sacrifice from strangers." Rodriguez shook her head. "With respect, Counselor, we do not want debt. We want partnership. The galaxy is dangerous, and the Selen should not have to face it alone. Terra would like to offer a formal alliance." The council members looked at each other, their skin colors shifting rapidly in silent communication. Finally, the eldest spoke again. "What would this alliance require of us? We have no military to offer. No weapons technology. We are artists and explorers. And that is exactly what the galaxy needs more of," Rodriguez replied. "Terra has military strength, but we lack the cultural wisdom of species like yours. We would propose a mutual defense pact. Terra protects Selen space and people. In return, the Selen share their knowledge, their art, their perspective. You help keep us human. Keep us from becoming what we fight against." Crystal stepped forward. "Admiral, may I speak?" Rodriguez nodded. "I was there in that dying ship. I watched your people risk their lives for children they had never met, whose species they did not recognize. Your Captain Williams did not hesitate. Your Lieutenant Reeves carried my daughter to safety in his own arms. And when we arrived here, we found you had brought an entire fleet for people you had only just learned existed." Crystal's skin glowed with warm gold. "If that is what Terra offers, then the Selen accept with joy." The council voiced their agreement, a harmony of voices that filled the conference room with beauty. Rodriguez stood and extended her hand to Crystal, who took it with 2 of her 4 hands. "Then let this be the beginning. The Selen and Terra, together." As the Selen delegation departed, Rodriguez's first officer, Commander Sarah Park, approached. "That was quite a commitment, Admiral. The council back home is going to have questions." "Let them ask," Rodriguez replied, watching the Selen shuttle depart through the viewport. "Sometimes the right thing to do is also the hardest thing to justify on paper. But I will take that trade every time." "Admiral," the communications officer interrupted. "We are receiving a priority transmission from Earth. It is Secretary General Thompson." Rodriguez straightened her uniform. "Put him through." The Secretary General appeared, his expression unreadable. Rodriguez prepared for criticism, for questions about resource allocation and political complications. Instead, Thompson smiled. "Admiral Rodriguez, I have just finished reading your full report. And I want you to know that the Federation Council has voted unanimously to ratify the Terran alliance. Furthermore, we are authorizing the establishment of a permanent defense station in the Laris system." Rodriguez blinked in surprise. "Sir, thank you." "Do not thank me, Admiral. Thank yourself and your crew. You have reminded us all why we reach for the stars in the first place. Not for conquest, but for connection. The Cellen were strangers yesterday. Today they are friends. Tomorrow, they will be family. That is the Federation I want to build." After the call ended, Rodriguez stood alone on the bridge, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Vracath were spreading word of what had happened. 40 human ships had arrived to save people they had no connection to, no profit from, no strategic interest in. The galaxy was taking notice. And Rodriguez realized that this was just the beginning.